everyone, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about my experience getting my film agent. Now this is obviously, like, I'm not an actor. If you're just finding me in this video, I'm not an actor. I am an author and my film agent represents my current work, The Glass Witch. Pre-order links down below. This is the story about how I got her. I am with Liz Sarant at Gotham Group. Gotham has worked on amazing movies such as like The Maze Runner, Spiderwick, Stargirl, things like that. A lot of Disney stuff, which is really exciting. I'd love to work with Disney. Lin-Manuel Miranda, if you want to like adapt The Glass Witch into something like Encanto, I'm totally down. But this is just gonna be my story, my experience. I'm not gonna give you how-tos because I know almost nothing about this industry. But how it all started. Okay, so at Root Literary, which is my lit agency, after you get your book deal, your agent is gonna start trying to shop your manuscript around to different either actual like producing companies like Disney, Netflix, and places like that, or to agencies, film agencies that take your work and then shop it for you. So in early October, which was about 7 months after I sold my book, my agent Samantha asked for the most recent updated version that I have been working with, Scholastic, because she had people that had reached out to her saying that they were interested in possibly representing the Glass Witch in the movie sphere, which was absolutely wild to me, and it's still wild to me. Like I still can't believe it. Like, talking about this, it still doesn't really feel real that I even have a film agent, and that, you know, it's just whatever. It feels less real to me than even getting like an agent or a book deal. But of course I was super excited, and I sent her the cleanest, most recent manuscript that I had been working with Tiffany, my editor at Scholastic, and I sent it over to Samantha, and I was like, yes, send it to whoever wants to read it. And I asked her, I was like, how did they even like learn about this? Like, they reached out to you wanting it? Like, how did that happen? And she explained to me that there's basically like 2 ways that this kind of stuff goes down. A lot of, I don't even know what to call them, production teams, producers, people who work for like Nickelodeon and Apple and Amazon Prime and, like, you know, all of the places that make like films and movies and stuff. They have a specific team that keeps an eye out on book announcements, and apparently some people had seen the announcement and were really excited about it and wanted to get on it. The other way is that Root Literary, I'm very blessed to have them. They have their own branch within the agency that deals completely with film and movie stuff. So there was a girl who works there and was doing matchmaking from the beginning, like trying to send out pitches of my books to different teams within the industry everywhere. By mid-October, my agent reached out to me with another email, and she was like, hey, I had a call with one of the film agents who was interested in your book. She read it, she devoured it and loved it, and she wants to hop on a call with all 3 of us and just like chat. And I was like, oh, okay. So we scheduled the call. It was for early November, and then we all jumped on there. It was just like a phone 3-way. We didn't do like FaceTime, which is really good because those make me a little nervous. But yeah, so we all just chatted, and Liz, it was Liz, spoilers, she was super nice. She feels very relatable and like millennial, and so like I really appreciated that. She had previously had connections at Netflix. She worked there before she came to Gotham as an agent, like to flip sides kind of. Like, she was on the production side, and now she was on like the selling to the production side. So that was really cool that she had connections there and she knew people, and she had specifically worked in the children's and animation department, I believe. So that was really, really awesome to be able to talk to her about that. And basically it was kind of like the call that you have with agents, you know, to feel each other out and to see if you guys vibed and what their vision for the project was and stuff. So she did that. She gushed about the book and how much she loved it, how great and marketable she thought it was because it's so short and so snappy and just like really like poignant with its points in few amount of words. But she talked about different places that she wanted to send it where she could really see it living well, different connections with different production corporations that she had, and if we were going to be looking into live action versus animation. She was really most interested in Disney, Netflix, and Nickelodeon because they have good, obviously, like children's sections, agendas, production teams, things like that. But also she was interested in Apple and HBO. HBO doesn't do a ton of children's stuff, but they are saying that they want to like spread their wings, and if we could you know, get the Glass Witch to be HBO's first big children's thing, like that would be like really super cool. So she wasn't limiting to anyone, but those were just some of the ones that she really had her eye on. She said that she saw the Glass Witch more as a film and not a TV show, which I totally agree with. I think it lends itself really well to like an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute movie or something like that, better than a TV show. So I was really glad we were on the same page there. And she really wanted to see it as like a live action. She spoke a lot about there needing to be a more recent version of Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town, because we haven't had those since, you know, geez, Hocus Pocus came out in the early 90s. So it's like we haven't had a children's classic Halloween movie almost that's like live action and all that stuff in so long. And she's like, maybe we could make the Glass Witch that. So I would love to see live action, and I was down for that too. I told her with animation I would rather, like, if they were gonna put a ton of money into it, like if it was gonna be Disney's next amazing animated film, like I would be fine with animation. But I didn't want it to be like an animated film with a very, very small budget and the animation looked awful and like children weren't gonna pick it up because it wasn't at the level of animation that we are now, you know? So depending on who picked it up and what they wanted to do, I was like totally gung-ho for like the live action thing. And then I wrote down a bunch of notes on the call because there was a lot of stuff that I learned that I had no idea about. And so I thought I would share them with you because they're good little snappy tips. First of all, with movies, most of the time, your film agent doesn't go out to like shop the manuscript to movie companies until the book has come out. It's kind of like they want to have big buzz and big sales to like back it and be like, this book is selling so much, you should really look into adapting it. So there's nothing happening for a long time when you sign with a film agent. But of course, early buzz is really, really awesome. That's why pre-orders are so important, because movie people look at that and they're like, oh, that's how many sales this book already has and it's not even out. Maybe we should really pay attention to that. Also, I asked commission rates for Liz and Samantha, like how they were gonna divvy that up if we did end up selling or optioning the Glass Witch. Liz told me that the agents take a 20% cut and they split it between them. So they both are gonna get 10% of the option deal. And the rest would, you know, go to me and the IRS. I had a lot of questions about optioning because this was like all new jargon for me. I didn't quite understand how everything works. So when a production team likes your book, what they do is they option the book or option the film, which is basically a contract that I sign and they sign saying that usually the time frame can change. They have 12 months to start production on the movie, given this rate of advance of what I get. You know, they're gonna give you, I don't know what the average is, like $10,000 or $1 million, whoever you are. If you're very famous, probably $1 million up front to option the film, and you get to announce it and say, yay, it's optioned, that's exciting. But basically it just means that the potential of your book becoming a movie is a piece of paper that gets filed in a cabinet. And if enough buzz at the production company finally reaches like a boiling point, then yeah, then they'll start production on it. But what happens a lot of times is books are optioned for film and then nothing happens and it sits there. A lot of times it dies because there are expiration dates on these contracts. Most of them are 12 months or a full calendar year. Some are 18, but most are 12. And what that basically means is the production team gets to own the rights to potentially making your book into a film for that calendar year. Nobody else can do that. So if Disney owns the option, Netflix can't start adapting it. But because of film stuff taking so long and there being so many moving parts, a lot of times the option does expire. And so if it does reach that 12-month period or the end of your contract option thing, I don't know the jargon, I really don't. Then what happens is the production company gets to have a meeting and decide if they want to re-option it and like renew the contract and give it like another 12 months or whatever, or if they're like, that's not really marketable anymore, we're gonna move on and just like let it die. And then if that happens, if it dies, your agent can go back out and start shopping it again to different production people because they no longer own the rights to it. If they still want it and they're still like, ooh, this has potential, we just couldn't get to it in time, they can basically renew the contract. And what actually happens when that happens is you get paid again. It's almost like a penalty, a penalty fee for the production company because they didn't get to it in time. So yeah, you get like another little chunk of an advance, which is, you know, pretty nice for you. You didn't have to do anything and you just get paid all over again. Now let's say that the most magical thing ever happens and they greenlit your contract and your book is becoming a movie. Usually how the payments work for that is they are tiered, is what I have learned. So at every stage in production, because it just like so rarely happens, they pay you a chunk of money, given that each rung in the ladder that it reaches, basically, right? So the moment that the movie is casted, right? Like it's actually happening, they've decided and they've casted actors or voice actors for the characters, you'll get a chunk of money. And then when filming starts, you'll get a chunk of money. When production ends, you'll get a chunk of money. When it debuts, you'll get a chunk of money. So it's kind of like that. And every contract is gonna look different. It's gonna depend on who you're with and what your agent negotiates, but that's kind of the general idea there. But at the end of the chat, Liz did offer representation and Samantha stepped in and she's like, we've really enjoyed this. We're gonna take a little bit of time and confer and then we'll email you and like let you know later. And so we all said goodbye. It was great. Samantha always does this amazing thing when we have a chat with someone. She like immediately calls me afterwards and she's like, what's the 411? Like she wants to like do a vibe check, like how I'm feeling about everything. She did that when I was in my auction too with my book. So it's just, I really love that she does that. It's very helpful to like, you know, throw thoughts off of her and see where we both are standing on this situation. They told her I was really impressed with Liz. I thought that her vision was really great. I vibed with her. I think she understood the story. She understood the importance of the story. And I love that she was just so in love with it. And like, it was like, forget the fact that she wanted to turn it into a movie. The fact that she read my book and loved it like meant everything to me. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I definitely was enamored and I told Samantha, I was like, if you feel like, you know, she's the right fit, like I'm all gung-ho for accepting her offer of representation. And Samantha's like, yes, I think she would be great. So Samantha drafted up an email and later that night she sent it to Liz saying, hey, we really love you and we think you've got a great vision and we would love to work with you on making this Glass Witch movie happen. And so Liz was super excited and she was like, yes, like I'm so excited to work with you guys, and the rest is history. If you're wondering where all of this stands now, there's been no update because, again, movie stuff is super slow, even slower than publishing, and most of it doesn't pick up until closer to your release date. So ask me again in October or November. If you have any questions about film stuff, don't ask me because I don't know. No, just kidding. I will try to answer your questions the best I can. If you want to leave them down below, if you have any questions about like film stuff, agent stuff, anything in general, I'm always open to questions down in the comments if you'd like to chat. So yeah, that's the story. Say prayers for me, hopes for me, sacrifice a virgin for me, throw someone down a volcano, I don't care. Let's make this happen. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and I will see you in the next one. Bye.